So now we will have a few hours about church planting and things like this. I hope you enjoyed the sermon. And I guess this prepared your heart to search what ways can you be involved in the church in a more meaningful way. And I'm very happy that Daniel now can share more. So I guess I will not say anything more much. Yeah, word to you.
Thank you. So shall I use this or this?
No.
Okay. So, oh, it's loud. Okay, guys, now that we are not... Hello?
Speak.
Okay, but I'm gonna destroy their ears if I keep speaking. Okay, so you can ask questions anytime. Okay, you can make comments, raise your hand, ask questions. Like, I don't want you to see this as a sermon or a lecture. Okay, we are talking. Okay, good. So this morning I spoke to you. Is this working, PowerPoint? No? Yeah, so we spoke about that. And I was talking about my churches, and now I'm going to continue about some things that I didn't say in the morning because it was not so relevant for the point, for the subject that we did in the morning. So it's relevant to now. This is the furthest church that I had. Do you see what's around it? Nothing. So it's literally nothing. So this church is in the middle of like these people work as farmers, and they live very far. This was 2 hours from my district, and I want to talk to you about something specifically about this church. When I was very annoyed with the whole district because they are only complaining, these people here also complained, but they had something different. They built their own church. Like this church, they literally built themselves. So somebody donated the land, the conference paid for the material, and the guys went there and built the church brick by brick. So they built the church, they built a kitchen at the back, they built toilets, and it was a beautiful church. And because the place is very far, there are no many people who can go there. For example, if I want to invite Albert to come and preach in that church, it's basically impossible because he needs to take a plane to São Paulo. In São Paulo, he needs to change and take a plane to Curitiba. In Curitiba, he needs to drive for 2 hours until Irati. Irati, he needs to drive another 2 hours to get to this church. So it's basically impossible. This meant that these people had no guests. And that's why they were the best church we had, because they had to do it by themselves. So inside the church, almost everybody could preach, teach Sabbath school. Some people could play. Even the small kids, they could like sing a song or tell a verse. So they learned that they need to do it by themselves. So this church was more, I would say, was healthier than my central church. Because in the central church, there was a pastor. So the pastor can do it. Who is going to pray? The pastor can pray it. Who is going to preach tomorrow? The pastor is going to preach. So who is going to teach the Sabbath school? Oh, the pastor is going to teach the Sabbath school. So what are you going to do? Nothing. And if you do nothing, where is your brain? Where is your mind? Your mind is literally doing nothing. And that's why you're not growing. You're not developing. I said that I wouldn't talk about these things in the morning because you guys are here. So you guys want to do something. You want to develop your life, your brain, your mission skills, and everything that God gave to you. That's why you're here. Don't stop it. Pastor Albert, no, where is he? Always translating down there. Don't stop it. Don't stop it. Keep doing mission trips, mission schools, mission whatever. Even if you need to go to the next town and do something, because that's what's going to keep the church growing. Oh, yeah, by the way, I want to share something with you here. You were talking this morning about how we connect things. Let's connect something else here. Because I don't have time, I'm not going to read all the texts, but I'm going to talk about Acts. So I want your help. What was the first church that became like start growing as a Christian church in Jesus' time? In which city was this church? Easy, help me here. Sorry? No, Antioch was not the first one. Jerusalem. Jerusalem was the first church that started. After Pentecost, the apostles were there. The church started in Jerusalem. The Christian church started in Jerusalem. I'm not talking about a building, okay? I'm talking about a group of Christians meeting together and learning and growing and preaching, okay? So I'm not talking about a building, but it was in Jerusalem. But there was a big problem. Jesus told them that they should go. And where did they go, the disciples, after Pentecost? Nowhere. They didn't go anywhere. They stayed. So the persecution came, and where did the apostles go when the persecution came and people start running to other cities and other places? Where did the disciples go to? Nowhere. The book of Acts says that they stayed in Jerusalem. The persecution came, the Christians fled, but the apostles stayed. Fast forward a little bit longer, a little bit further.
If you want to,
thank you.
Slides.
Thank you very much. So now comes the church of Antioch. Some of the Christians that ran away from Jerusalem because of the persecution, they went to Antioch. And they say, well, we don't have apostles here. Peter is not here. John is not here. Mark is not here. We don't have any of the good stars, the big stars, the preachers, the teachers. So what shall we do? What do you think they did in Antioch?
They did themselves.
They did everything by themselves. There was no one there. There was no one famous. There was no one none of those guys from Jerusalem were in Antioch. But they start doing everything by themselves, like this little church here did. And what happened? This church started to grow. And it grew so much that the apostles from Jerusalem heard about Antioch and sent people there to check if they are right or not. You've read this, you know this story. They said, go and see if something is wrong or not. And they went and they came back and said, everything's fine. They're growing better than we are. And then Paul went to his first mission trip. Who paid for it? A little bit. You're right. He paid part, but he was sent by a church. Guess which church? No, Antioch. Antioch sponsored part of Paul's first mission trip. And then Paul went to the second mission trip. Guess who sponsored it? Part of, because he also worked, but who helped? Who sent Paul the second time? Antioch. And the third time? Antioch. Antioch was a church without any pastor, without any apostle, without any big figure, big name, big star, nobody. But they grew and they're stronger financially and emotionally and spiritually. Why am I saying that they're strong spiritually? Because they sent the best person they had. Paul, tell me your name again.
Martins.
Martins?
Yeah.
Let's imagine that Martins grew up in this town here. He's part of this church since he was a baby. And, he does a lot of things. He takes care of the media, of the whatever. He does everything here. What do you want to do with him? You want to keep him.
Of course.
You want to keep him because, he's doing everything. So why would we lose him? What did Antioch do with Paul? They said, I don't know what they said because it's not written, but we can guess that they said, Paul, we are doing fine here. It's not fair if we keep you for ourselves. Please, we'll pay for you to go and do the same thing in other places so they can be like us. That's spiritual maturity. Is when you're so excited about the gospel that you say, no, go and do that somewhere else. You have to go, you have to do it somewhere else. We're going to sponsor. We're going to do everything we can. We're going to pray for you. We're going to pay for you. We can even go together with you part of the way. And then when Paul is going back to Jerusalem, I said all of this is in the book of Acts. You can read. Some of these you already know. Won't have time to read all the text now. But Paul was going back to Jerusalem. The last trip that he did to Jerusalem, he knew that he would get caught. He knew that he would be sentenced to die. But he was going to Jerusalem, and he was bringing something very special to Jerusalem. Do you remember what he was bringing to Jerusalem? He talks about that many times. Offerings. To where? To the central church? The biggest first church? Why do they need offerings? Offerings from where? From Antioch and the other churches. From Antioch. Antioch, the church without a pastor, the church without leaders. I mean, everyone was a leader, but without a job as a leader. Sending money because Jerusalem was struggling. Jerusalem didn't have money. Jerusalem didn't send any missionaries like Antioch did. Why? Because the disciples were doing a very good job, but nobody else did. Does it make sense? For your mind to be mature, to be growing, and to achieve what God created you to achieve, you need to be doing something. The first time that the Bible talks about that is when they leave the garden of Eden. God tells men, you will need to work. Basically, God was saying, I want to keep you away from problems. I want to keep you away from depression and the complainings and all these kind of things. I need you to work. God was not only talking about work on the field. You need to work because through work, you're going to develop your mind. Through work, Antioch developed their minds, their best minds. And through work, we see all the missionaries going. Again, when I say missionaries, I'm not saying you need to go to China. I'm saying wherever you do. Where is the person who cooked lunch for us? He's not here. Cooking dinner. I want to say thank you to all of you guys because this is mission. You know, sometimes you say, oh, you know, let's hear from the missionary who came from Japan. Wait, let's hear from the missionary that stayed here and cooked for 10 weekends. How was it? How was your experience cooking for all these angry, hungry people? Angry and hungry people. There you go. Did you learn more?
Yeah, I learned some new recipes.
Okay. That's amazing. What else? You came to also mission school, right? Oh, okay.
Next year.
Perfect. Very good. So look at what she said. I learned new recipes. I bonded with people, and maybe you'll be here next year. That's perfect. Thank you, because this is doing mission. So guys, again, I'm gonna, I have this button here. I'm gonna tell you, and I will always tell you, find the skills that God gave you and use it. Because if you don't use it, you lose it. Okay? If you don't use it, you lose it. I didn't say about this morning, but when I was basically quitting pastoral work, I went to Exponential. Have you heard about Exponential? Exponential is a congress that they have in the US. It's not Adventist. Is like many churches together, and they're not talking about doctrines. They are talking about a specific point. And the things that they're talking about every year is church plant. They say the best way for you to develop your skills, the best way for you to put your church to work, the best way for you to develop new talents is planting a church. After that, I start thinking about planting churches. Before that, when you say about planting churches, I don't want to plant a church. I have 9. Why would I want 10? I don't want to plant a church. But after this Exponential, I changed the way I think. Another thing that I want to tell you, sometimes you say, yeah, but it's easy for you guys to go because, you know, the church sent you here, the church sent you there. No. Sometimes you need to go against the, how do you call it, against the tide. I went to my president of my conference and I said, you guys are recording this is dangerous. I said, I would like to go to Exponential. And he said, you don't need to go. You don't need anything that this guy is going to say there. And I said, okay, I have some savings. I will pay for myself. I would like you to give me just 1 week holiday so I can go. No, you don't need to go. I already told you. You can stay. I said, okay, so I will take 1 week holiday from my free time. I use my own savings and I'm going to go. If you want something in life, you don't wait for people to do it for you. Don't wait. Nobody's going to do anything for you. Your mom will, but nobody else. Okay? You need to do it by yourself. I don't know how Latvians are, but Brazilians, they have a very bad way to kind of say, complain. You don't pay for me, I cannot go. You can go because you have money. You cannot go, I cannot go. Nobody does anything for me. Nobody sends me, nobody. Guys, nobody's going to do anything for you. We need to stop this again. I don't know if you do this. I don't think Latvians do. No, I don't think so. Sure. We need to quit this culture of complaining and put the guilt tripping everybody else. You know why I didn't go? Oh, because my president. You know why I didn't sing today? Because my pastor. You know why I'm not here? Because somebody else. Stop blaming everybody and start asking yourself, what can you do to achieve the dreams that God has for you? God has plenty of dreams for you, but you only achieve them if you start to do for yourself. This is accountability. You know the word in English, accountability. Do you know the difference between accountability and responsibility? Do you know the difference? Responsibility is like that. Ginta is a teacher. And then I bring my child and say, here, teacher, here is my child. So she's responsible for my kid for the day, right? So if my kid falls on the floor, she needs to go there and she needs to, okay. Accountability is the mother of the child. It doesn't care about what time it is or if it's my job or not. The mother and the father are always taking care of the child. So responsibility is what I have to do because that's my job. Accountability is what I will do because I want to. See the difference? So in Brazil, we start talking about that for so long and we repeat it so many times in the district, so many times. And they invented a joke. They said, let's stop with disculpability. Like, let's stop with excuses, excusability. Disculpability in Portuguese. Let's stop with excusability. Let's start with accountability. So no more excuses. No one has the right to give excuse for anything. Why didn't you come on time? Oh, because stop with excusability. Why didn't you come on time? Because you didn't want to. If you want, you will come here on time. So we need to change the culture. We need to make that as part of our life. Otherwise, other things won't happen. And in this Exponential 2018, they were talking about the hero maker. That's also an important thing. They're saying, like, stop trying to be the hero. Stop trying to be the person who is there doing everything. Be the hero maker. Who are you going to prepare to be there doing everything? So if you know how to do, what do you know how to do? Playing saxophone. You're amazing playing saxophone. So you play several times, but every time you're playing, think about who am I inspiring to play here in my place tomorrow? Who am I, touching hearts to be here playing tomorrow? So, for example, I'm just using the example from today, like the two German guys, the boys. They were there doing the filming and everything. I would be thinking, how can we develop these boys the maximum that we can, but at the same time bring somebody from the church to learn what they're doing and do in their place when they leave? So be a hero maker, not only the hero. And at the same time, I told you, you too, this afternoon, I also was translating acts in Brazil. So this also helped me to change the culture in my district. So they came from the US and they are teaching pastors acts, how to create a district that you're towards planting churches, and I was translating. So this helped me to change my way of seeing church and the way I was doing church. So we start doing the courses. I told you my wife is also doing courses with us. And this is my central church after, I would say, more or less 2 years of this idea. I was bringing everybody, I was training people, I was equipping people, and they started to be excited, lots of young people. They started to be excited about that. We want to learn. We want to be part of this movement. We want to be part of this. So we could fit 200 people in this church, but usually we would have close to 250, 300, because they would invite people and the community was coming, and that's why things were becoming like that. I told you about the mission school that we had, told you about Gustavo. And also another thing that we start doing there, I also said to you that some people came and start saying, how can I help? I want to do something. So in this church, let's say we're doing a course about how to preach. So it's going to be 5 weeks on how to preach. Every Saturday every Saturday afternoon, we're going to be together and we're going to learn how to preach. Afterwards, we're going to talk about finances, okay? Because maybe you have problems. Maybe you need to learn how to save money, how to invest money. Christians should be organized with money. So let's have a course on finances. But I don't know how to talk about finances. So I would ask people in my district to do that, and they would do. Sometimes I would ask non-Christians to do it, and they would do. Why can't I do that? If you're not Christian, but you know very well how to do something, I'm going to ask you, and you're probably going to say yes. If they say that you're doing something good for the community. They're talking about health. They are talking in the radio. Yes, this was a family that they're all the time complaining. This is a whole family. All of them are sisters and brothers and cousins and complaining about everything all the time. Every time I would visit them was complaints. And I asked them what they would like to do for the church. And they start making food. And again, they didn't ask for budgets. They just did. They just did everything. And because they did all of that, more people would come to church because it was fun and it was nice. I show this picture. Yeah. So now what I want to tell you guys, sorry. Oh, yeah, there's more people doing more things, but I don't want you to get bored. So yes, I'm gonna go to this part. First, questions. Because I'm gonna move to a part that was my biggest failure. I just told you about beautiful things, yeah? How amazing things are, blah, blah, blah. Now I'm gonna talk about a horrible failure. But before, I want your participation.
I have one question because
Yes.
I'm pastor's wife and also a little bit like similar situation. I'm thinking more about if we will organize how to preach or how to teach. I'm thinking if there would come somebody because yes, my perception is that people actually don't want to learn that, and we have led some kind of this lessons and training, but people don't want to learn that, and that I see as a difficulty.
You are 100% right, and I had the same problem. But what I saw that could work was, it is a culture. You cannot come tomorrow and say, guys, tomorrow we're going to have 10 hours course here every Saturday. It won't work. I know that's not what you're talking about. But what I'm saying is, like, every sermon I was talking about growth. Every time that I was talking about Sabbath school, I would try to see how can we put growth in here. Every meeting, we had lots of meetings, church meetings. I was talking to the leaders. Guys, you need to have an open-minded to grow. How can we grow? How can we make our youth grow? Your children, they need to grow. They need to be exposed to other things. So you cultivate that day after day, week after week. And sometimes it will take probably a year. For me, it took a year and a half to start some change, and we couldn't change everybody. And every time they would invite me to come and visit them, I would come, and they would start complaining. And then I would say, for example, you start complaining about what's wrong in your life. Pastor, you know, my salary is so small. I have no money. How can the church help me? Sorry, I'm just using you. So I would come, and rather than solve his problem, I would coach him. That's what Acts was also doing, coaching. What's coaching? Coaching is I don't give you the answer. I ask you questions. So I would say, what do you know? How is your CV? Is your CV up to date? What would you like to do? And you ask questions. So he answers his own questions and he solves his own problem. But there's another thing too. Before, I was very scared to make people unhappy. I don't know how Latvians are. Brazilians don't like to make people unhappy. So this is not a joke, this is true. My wife is Ukrainian, so she was not born in Brazil. So when she was talking to someone in Brazil, someone, usually they do, like they finish the conversation like this. Oh, by the way, let's find a day for us to meet again. That's usually how you finish the conversation. And she would get her agenda and say, okay, when? And the person say, I don't know. I just said, I don't mean anything. So people just say things that they don't mean it because they want to make you happy. So for example, they would say, oh, let's meet again and keep talking about that. You'd say, yes, of course, let's. But both of you know that you're never going to talk about that again. So this is bad. This is a culture where we're trying to please people, make people happy. So I needed to work on myself and change that. So when I was going to visit someone and people start complaining, I would say, listen, do you want to solve your problems? Why don't you start coming to our courses? Because that's what we're trying to do for the 9 churches. I don't have time to sit in your house and talk only with you for days. But I have time and resources to do that for the whole church, the 9 churches. And if the person wouldn't come to the course, I was not going to visit him again. Because I would say on the phone, if you want to complain, I'm not going. If you want to tell me a solution that we can work together in the district and you're going to tell me how you're going to do it, I'm going now. Oh, you don't need to come. I made very many people unhappy, very many people unhappy. The question is, are you willing to do that? You don't need to answer me, but the thing is like, are we willing to do that? Again, that's why I didn't talk about this downstairs, because that was a big group. And I didn't want to make them unhappy first time I'm here. But if you are here, this means that you are a little bit different. You are already engaged in something. You already want to make a difference. You're not here because, oh, you want to complain. You're here because you want to make a difference. Does it make sense? So it's not going to change in less than 1 year. But if you talk about that every time, slowly, very slowly, it will change. Thank you. Great question. Anybody else? You look like you have a question boiling inside your mind.
Well, I don't know if it's similar to the last one, but I feel like, what if you have a church that already is like used to doing things their way and you want to do something new? And yesterday we heard that the reason to plant new churches isn't to get out of conflicts. But yeah, what, like, do you have any, I don't know, tips or?
That's an amazing question. I should even have said that before, but thank you for asking. That was really good. I had a church like that. That church didn't want to change at all. And I was losing my hair trying to help them, but they didn't want to change. So I need to learn to respect someone or a church that doesn't want to change. I need to learn to give them the freedom not to change. If you say, I want to change, okay, I can help you, let's do something, let's think about something. Actually, I don't want to do any of that. So I will give you the freedom to continue in your problem. Wasn't that what God did to us in the Garden of Eden? I'm not going away from your question, it's the same thing, but it's because usually we try to control. We are very good in controlling people. We like to control people. We want everyone to do what we want them to do. But sometimes you need to let them go and be in trouble because that's what they want to do. You need to allow them to go. Why didn't God put like a protection around the tree that they shouldn't eat from? Yeah, electric fence. They could put like, angels with swords. Why?
Free will.
Sorry?
Free choice.
Free will, free choice. Your point is very important. Hold on to that. Why did he bring the tree in the first time?
Yes.
That's the thing. Did God need to test them? What's a test? I'm a teacher. I don't know if you know, so I give you a test. Oh, actually, you know. Congratulations. Does God need to test us? No. The test was from whom? For whom? For us. For us to understand that God is giving me a way out. Imagine that all of this here is the Garden of Eden. Okay? You're all here. Are you happy? Yeah. Then I'll say, you will stay here forever. You are forbidden to go out. I cannot let you go out. If you go out, you cannot come back. Don't go out. You are my prisoners in the Garden of Eden. Are you happy? God said, here is the door. I wish you don't go. I beg you not to go. I love you. Stay here with me. But you're free to go if you want. There was not a physical door. So he said, here is the tree. let me do something different. How do you vote for the president here? You don't vote, okay. If you do, how do you vote? You press a button or you write on a paper? Tick on a paper, yeah. In Brazil is a machine. You type a number, you press the button. Let's say that you have just two presidents, this president and this president, running for the chair. So if you press this button, is this president. If you press this button, is this president here. Do you have a choice? Yes, you do have a choice. If I vote for this president, what's going to happen? He is going to be the leader of my country for 4 years. If I vote for this president, he is going to be the leader of my country for 4 years. God comes to you and say, I need to create a way for you to vote. Outside door, exit door. So this tree is the voting machine. If you want me to be your God, don't go out. Stay with me. You're free to stay with me. But the devil is running for the same job. He wants my job. So he's running for president of the universe. And if you want to vote for him, eat the fruit. That's the voting machine. Like you said, that's a test. Not only for the people, that's for the people to test God and say, actually, yeah, I have freedom. It's not Soviet Union. I have the button. I can choose God or the devil. God or the devil. Who did we choose? The devil. And Jesus says, here comes the prince of this world. Who was he talking about? Was he telling the truth? Yes. The devil offered him all the kingdoms of this world. Was he telling the truth? Do you remember how the text is written? How the devil talks to Jesus? If you bow down to me, I will what? Why? But how is the text? Because it was given to me, and I give to whoever I want. Was he telling the truth?
No.
Yes? Who gave to him?
Nobody gave him.
Adam and Eve gave to him.
Yeah, that God gave for Adam and Eve, not for devil.
Yes.
He somehow stole from Adam and Eve his rights.
Here's a key. I want to give you a present. This car is yours, okay? It's yours now. And then you give to her. Whose car is this now?
She stole it for me.
And she didn't. You gave to her. You gave to her.
This choice maybe not hold it strong. I gave it to her.
That's what Adam and Eve did. They basically gave to him. When you go to Job chapter 1, sorry guys, I'm going around, but I love this kind of things. Are you following? Are you okay? Shall we go back, or are we okay with this? Okay. Job chapter 1, God has a meeting with all the leaders of planets, created planets. And Job chapter 1 says that the devil was there. And then God says, where are you coming from? What is the answer?
Earth.
From earth. And from doing what on earth? Walking around earth. What is the devil doing?
This earth belongs to me.
Yes, the devil is mocking God. You know, earth, that was Adam's, he gave to me. Now I walk all around it. All mine. I go wherever I want. The devil is mocking God in front of all the other leaders because it was given to him. And God says, okay, have you seen my servant Job? The earth maybe is yours now, but people still have a choice. And Job chose me. Going back to all the place where we were before. Choice. Your question. If the people don't want to change, let them be free to choose whatever they want. If a person wants to destroy their lives, you're going to be his life or her life, you're going to be very sad, but you need to give them the choice to do whatever they want. Why am I saying this? Because sometimes we want to save everyone. And we are very hurt when people are destroying their lives rather than following Jesus. Mainly if it's someone from your family. Mainly if it's someone that you like a lot, or a friend that you really like. We need to allow people to be free to follow the way they want. But we keep trying with other people. This church I was talking to you about, I organized an event and I brought all the youth from my district to that church to do a program for them. They did a whole Saturday afternoon. Beautiful, beautiful program. In the end, the first elder came, took the microphone and said, I want to thank you, all of you guys. This was beautiful. But I want to say one thing. There was one of you with tattoo on your arms, and I don't approve that. Was another one of you with, how do you call it, nail polish, and I don't approve that. So I wish you can fix those problems before you come back here. Seriously? I brought all my youth there and you destroyed their spirit? So I never brought any visitor there ever again. And I allowed them to be who they want to be. They kept doing everything the way they wanted. So you will have people like that. And you can try, you can pray for them, but don't kill yourself for them because it's their choice. Does it make sense? Oh, sorry, I didn't get it. They who?
Maybe in the church she want to do something in her way or how she see it could be the best, but church doesn't want to.
Plant a new church.
No.
Okay, I'm gonna help you with that. I'm not saying the same way that it was said before, plant a church because you're fighting the church, but I'm gonna talk about that now. Just before I talk about that, any other question on this subject? Guys, when I talk, I love go around a little things like that. Are you sure that I was a teacher for 8 years, and some of my students say, I'm so confused, I don't remember even the question. So where are we? So if you're okay with that, we go like that. If you're not, I can change. Okay, so
maybe I have a
after-
suggestion.
sorry?
Maybe we can have a break, 10
Okay.
minutes break.
Okay, break.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We're enjoying.
I'm enjoying this too, so. Okay. So let's get to land to the point now. That's church plants together with making disciples. So everything that I told you guys until now is for you to understand how it was for us to build the mentality of church planting. Okay, so it's impossible to plant a church if you don't have the mentality, the culture of church planting. So I'm going to talk to you about a huge mistake that I made. When my district was kind of working well already, after 3.5 years, we started planting this church. So how did we do it? We made friends with a cafe owner, and we asked if we could use their place, the coffee place, on Saturday night, and he gave us for free. So you can have lots of churches for free. You just need to ask. And then we started meeting there. But most of everybody there were not Adventists or even Christians before. So let me build the logic together with you. When we're giving courses to the church, lots of people from the community came to the course. Okay, so lots of people. And the prefect of that city asked us to even use more of the, how can I say, the building. They gave us a building and said, here, use this every Tuesday. So we used a building that the prefecture gave us. Do you say prefecture here? How do you say it? Municipality, thank you. So they gave us like, oh, that's cool. There is not being used on Saturday. You guys can use. So we also had that for free. And, oh, sorry, they are fixing things there. It's fine. Got it? Yeah. So two of these girls came to us, my wife and I, and said, listen, we have a big problem. We work for one of the biggest schools in the city, and is a public school. So salaries are low, students are rebellious, so they are burnout. All the teachers are burnout. They don't know how to deal with the situation. So we started organizing, we won't say courses, but we start meeting them every week to talk about their difficulties and see how we could help. And every time we would meet, we would talk about, problems with kids, with students, psychological, how you can help yourself. But we also talk about the Bible all the time, talking about the Bible, all the time talking about the Bible. And that started to become a church because we're meeting every week and talking about the Bible. But I had 0 Adventists, and I had nobody who were like born in the church. It was just everybody was brand new, and we were talking more and more about the church, and we started giving them Bible studies. And it was not a church like your Saturday morning church, like now it's time to pray, now it's time. It was a gathering in a place to talk about God. So according to Gerson Santos, you can call that a church, but it's still not in the manual yet. So basically, officially you can't, but it is the beginning of a church. And then I moved out of that city. I was called to go to another city. and that church died completely, like in weeks. Question, why? Exactly, I was the one holding the entire project on my shoulders. So it was okay for me, but it was not okay for them. And I was helping them with the courses and everything. Why didn't they develop? Now is the difference. If you have a church, sorry, I'm not talking about you guys, but if you have a church that is being lazy, you can talk about accountability, you can talk about courses, you can talk about you need to grow, because you know the way, you know more or less what to do. You have a calling, you just need to engage it. But when you go to outsiders, it's very difficult for you to train them. It's very difficult for you to equip them because they don't have the basis. It's very, I would say, it's close to impossible to plant a church without starting with a core group of Christians or people who think like you do. So to plant a church, you need to have a core group. What's a core group? A group of people that you meet with them every week and you talk about how the future church could look like. For example, let's say that Albert wants to start planting a church with you guys. So he will meet you guys every Saturday afternoon, and then we will discuss. What do you want to do in your new church? What do you want this new church to be? What do you think we could make different, could do different? And then he would start to create a culture inside your heart and your mind. Creating a culture, I'm not talking about Adventist culture, I'm talking about the culture of the new church. How do you want this new church to be? Are we going to be friendly? If we're going to be friendly, let's say you say, I want the new church to be friendly. Okay, what do we need to do now to have a church in 1 year from today, in 1 year, to have a church that's friendly? Help me. What do we need to do today? So in 1 year from now, we have a church that's a baby church that's friendly. What can we do now? What shall we change in our culture to have a friendly church? Yes?
So maybe it could be gathering at least once or twice per month and have some potluck or eating together and
Great.
discussing things.
So you're promoting community and time, quality time. Good, thank you. Anything else? So we'd say, let's do it. Let's do like twice a month, let's do a potluck. What else?
I think one more thing that really combines or make unity is doing something together, like doing something for people around and
Community service.
Yeah, community service, because it's combines us two closer together.
So let's say that once a month we're gonna do community service. Are you happy with that? Or just pretending, but are you happy? What else? What could you do personally on your own time to make your church a little bit more friendly? Oh yeah. Oh people. Just to say hello, just to say how you're doing, just to listen to them. What else?
Become friendlier yourself because you're going to be a part of the church.
Yeah. Try to start thinking what you can do for you to be friendly. You understand? So we would do this every Saturday, probably for a year. Not only about friendly, but about other things. You say, oh, maybe we should be more relevant to the community. So how can we be more relevant? Maybe we could cook for the community once a month. Maybe, I don't know. So this is creating a culture in your core group. What's a core group? Core group is the base of your church. The people who will, together with you, invent, develop, decide on the culture of the new church. What's not a core group? Who is coming from outside after the church is ready. He's part of the church, but he's not the core group who decides how the church will function. So when I say plant a church, I was not saying like because you fought with somebody, but I was saying like if your church, if the church that you want to bring your friends to is not the church that you have today, maybe you need to think about a church that will welcome your friends the way they are. Does it make sense? So again, the church where you are today, maybe they're happy the way they are, and that's a church that works for them. But maybe your friends, your secular friends who are not Christians, would like to come to a church that is more welcoming. I don't know. And that's how I'm gonna start this new phase. So this church failed, and we went to another capital. We stayed for 2 years in another church, and then we went to Japan. And in Japan, our job was to do acts in Japan and also plant our own church. So we are part of a movement that we're doing with all the pastors in Tokyo. But at the same time, each one of us, each one of the 5 families that went to Japan for this specific project was supposed to plant a church. So I want to show you, yes, this. This is the church that we planted. Does it look like a normal church? No. What's in the middle of the table? Like Bibles and Ellen White books? What's in the middle of the table? Food, and a lot of food. Why? Sorry? No, go ahead.
Building friendship.
Yeah.
Eating together.
Eating together. Guys, every time you see Jesus doing something, he's doing something around food all the time, all the time. Why? Because food brings you together. You're eating, so you cannot run away. You have to sit there and talk to people. So brings you together. There is no one in front of the other. Why? Everyone is talking. There is no one person talking by himself or herself. What else? What do you think about the view? Yeah, this is the $10,000 office that I told you. I spoke yesterday about that, right? No, I didn't. Sorry. I spoke in another place. That's the church that we planted in Tokyo. We had a huge budget from the US to plant churches, a very, very big budget. But we couldn't use the budget because for a missionary to use a budget, it needs to go through the union, the local union. And the local union didn't have rules how to handle the money. So we had the budget, but we couldn't use it. So we met for a year, I would say close to a year and a half, we met in a restaurant. We would go to a restaurant, we would eat, and we would talk about the Bible and about Jesus and all of that. And one day, let me see if you can see in this picture. I think you can see on this other picture here. Yeah, you see this guy with the yellow shirt? Yeah, his name is Mike. And Mike is a known Christian that was coming to our restaurant. No, I won't say what, our church, going to the restaurant. Known Christian. In Japan, 2% of the population, oh yeah, I talked to the Pathfinders this morning about this. So yeah, 2% of the country, 2% of the Japanese population is Christian, 2. What about 98?
Buddhists.
Buddhists? Sorry? Atheists and Shinto. Shintoism. Shinto is a religion that is not organized by rules or doctrines. Like in Shinto, you don't have books, you don't have rules, you just follow tradition. But most of the atheists, they are like this. You go to the street, you say, oh, what are you? Oh, I'm an atheist. So you go to his home and he has an altar in his home and he bow to the altar every day to his ancestors who are dead. Well, but don't you say that you're atheist? Oh yeah, but just in case. That's how it works. To me, it was very difficult to understand that for the Japanese person, your understanding and your actions, they don't need to be together. Most of everyone that follows Shinto, they don't understand what Shinto is and they don't need to. They just follow what needs to be done. Like clap and do a thing, put the incense. And once I was watching a movie with friends, Japanese friends, and the movie finished. It was a Japanese movie, and it finished. And I said, I didn't understand the ending. It doesn't make sense. And the girl looked at me and said, it doesn't need to make sense. It's just a film. I said, why watch something that doesn't make sense? Why would you need to think through a film? So in their culture, reason, emotion, and action, they don't need to be together. If you are average Japanese, they say you're gonna be born in Shinto, you're gonna marry in Catholicism, and you're gonna die in Buddhism. Because that's the most beautiful rituals. So they do the ritual for the babies in Shinto because it's more beautiful. But the wedding, the Catholic wedding is the most beautiful one. So they have fake churches. There's a lot of fake churches in Japan. Fake church is a church that's actually looks like a church, but there is no mass or worship, nothing. It's just for weddings. You pay, you have a wedding, and you go home and they close the church and that's it. It only works for weddings. And they say you die in Buddhism because, yeah, the ritual for death in Buddhism is more interesting. So, yeah, you don't need to follow anything. You don't need to understand anything. You just follow. So, Mike was I wouldn't even say an atheist. He was nothing, and he was coming to the church. And then he said, Daniel, after 1 year, he said, Daniel, let's move to our office. I said, yes, where is your office? In the center of Tokyo, the most expensive part of Tokyo. And I said, okay, so we'll meet in your office next week, and then afterwards we come back to the restaurant. He said, no, I want you guys to meet in my office forever. And I said, seriously? How much? He said, no, I'm being blessed with all of this. He's not Adventist, he's not Christian, but he's been with us for a year. And he said, I want to continue doing this in my office. So we have today there, we have a $10,000 office for free as our church in Tokyo. That's the church that we planted. Mike, when we just arrived, Mike was just fresh from college, making very little salary. And he started coming to our church. I'm not saying that that's the reason, but I told you many times that I believe God blessed Mike with an amazing company that him together with another friend, they funded the company, they started the company, it was a startup. And in 2 years, it became like a huge company and they sell stationery. You know what stationery is, right? They sell Japanese stationery for the entire world. For the whole world. Because you know that Japanese stationery is famous. Did you know that? They have the most variety of paper, all kind of papers and texture and pens and beautiful pencils. And if you're into these things, Japanese material is the best. So they sell to the world and they have an office in the center of Tokyo. And now we use this office as our church. Again, making disciples. Is Mike our disciple? Depends on how you say it. Mike started coming to our church and Mike would ask questions every 5 minutes. We would talk like this. Sometimes I would talk fast so he wouldn't have time to ask questions. But I'm joking. I wanted him to ask questions. He asked questions and questions and questions. And we kept doing that, linking from here, from there, and then he would keep asking questions. And sometimes we would stay, I'm not joking, we would stay together for 4.5 hours. That was the church. There is no sermon. We're doing a little bit of what we're doing here, but there they spoke more than I did. For 4 hours, 4.5 hours. And I would say, guys, we need to finish, because otherwise you guys are gonna sleep here. And Mike would say, I have my mattress there, I don't care. Mike brought lots of his friends to this church. And if you look now, I don't know how many you have there, but nowadays we have around 20 people going to this church. Again, answering that question, her question about the church for your friends. Why we planted a church like this? Why there is no building? And why there is no, we don't kneel to pray, and there is no music? Why? There's no rhetorical question. Why? Why do you think there is no music? No, I think people would actually, some people like music, not really distraction. But for a Japanese, oh, sorry.
I think that Japanese don't have such music that we would find acceptable for worship and as a church. And if the music comes from any other country, then it's again not their culture.
Their music. Is that a good answer?
Yeah, I was thinking similarly, like that it wouldn't be so common to them. Yeah,
Yes.
they wouldn't be like used to it and wouldn't feel comfortable maybe to.
I use Mike's words that more or less are your words. One day somebody said, you should have music in this church. And Mike said, no, how can I bring a friend of mine here and then everybody starts singing? He wanted a church where he could bring normal people who are not Christians to have a conversation about the Bible and about God. But guys, for us who are Adventists, it's normal to sing. For a normal person, it's weird. You go to somebody's house and you start singing. Mike said, it's not normal to sing. So this church was towards non-Christians. Everything that was done in this church was for non-Christians. I'm not saying that you shouldn't sing in your church anymore. I'm saying you need to think, what kind of church are we planting? Who are the people who are coming to this church? We need to think about them and not about what we want.
In Latvia, it's pretty common to sing, actually.
Oh, so for you, it would be very normal to have. For Japanese, it's normal, but only in the karaoke. They go on Saturday nights to the karaoke and they sing the secular songs. But to go to someone's house and sing together is weird for them. So we tried to do something that would fit the culture and would fit the people. Again, I didn't tell you guys. First year, we spent 5 years in Japan. First year in Japan was a complete failure. Why? Because we brought the models from US and Brazil, and we tried to use the models in Japan. And it doesn't work. It didn't work. It doesn't work. It will never work. We came and we did acts in Japan. So we told them what to do. Said, you guys will have a core group. You're going to talk to a core group. You're going to build a culture. You're going to start a church, blah, 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 blah. They didn't do anything. They literally didn't do most of anything. Why? Because in a Japanese culture, the normal culture in Japan is shame or honor. Do you know how it works? Like, you need to be honored or you're going to be shamed. It's based on shame and honor. So in a company, I need to honor who is older than me. And if I embarrass myself, I should quit my company and I need to run away from here as fast as I can. I cannot be embarrassed. If I shame my family, that's the worst thing I could ever do. That's why there's so many suicides in Japan. Even in the Adventist culture, I feel bad to say that, but if you fail, you're supposed to quit your job. If you're a pastor and you made a mistake, you're supposed to quit. That's the culture. So we came and you told them what to do. Why wouldn't they do? What if they fail? They would never do that. We never tried that. You talk about something weird. You talk about planting a church in a restaurant. We will not do that. What if we fail? So the second year, we said to them, don't do anything. Come and participate on my church. And they came and they spent 1 year coming and watching and spending time with us. And then they went and they planted. So, oops. Yeah. This is a church without a pastor and without a sermon. These girls, they came, they saw how we did. They saw that maybe it could be a success. They understood how it worked, and they planted a church in their own house. Maybe if you see this, you say, this is just a birthday party. No, this is a church. The 3 girls, they dropped their, there are 3 girls, each one living in a single apartment. Let me explain something to you. In Japan, in Tokyo, more than 60% of the population, they live alone in one apartment of less or 40 square meters. Did you understand? So you would live alone, you would live alone, you would live alone. Each one of you will live alone in an apartment that only fits you. So what did they do? They quit their rent. They rent the house together. That was the size of this place here, or even less, together, because then they could put 3 times the money. And they said, now we can invite people. And they start inviting their friends to there. They had more than 200 visitors. They were nurses. So they are planting a church that is okay if you don't come every Saturday, because nurses work on Saturday sometimes, you know that. So they planted a church where there was no sermon and no pastor. They would always talk about the Bible in a sequence that if you miss one day, it wouldn't be a big problem for you. So they planted a church that would work for their reality. Does it make sense? In Japan, how did we make disciples? It took forever, but through friendship. So you make friends with someone, and then, like I think you said, you call the person, you ask how the person is, you invite the person to do something, the person invites you, and you make friends with 1, 2, 3 people, and from the 3 people, maybe just 1 will continue your friendship, and that's okay. And it's time consuming, but that's okay. If you want to do it, that's what Jesus did. He spent 3.5 years basically together with 12. And from these 12, they messed up most of the times, right? So it is time consuming and it is difficult. Sorry, I have the pictures in another slide, so I forgot to put it together. We create the system to bring people to Jesus there, and it worked in that context, okay? I made a friend called Kazushiro. Kazushiro is a Japanese. He could speak English, so he was my friend. Somebody introduced us, we start talking, blah, 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 yeah. So I thought, I need something to see Kazushiro again. What can I have? What can I do to see Kazushiro again? So the person had introduced us, was an Adventist and wanted us to be friends with him. And I asked the person, what does he like to do? And then she said, he likes to play games. And I said, okay. Then in the conversation, I said, Kazushiro, what do you like to do? I said, oh, I like to play games. Well, what kind of games? Any games, video games, board games, any games. I like to play games. So, oh, wow, you're in luck because we have a board game night that we meet every month and we play together. We didn't have anything. I just invented that. And then he said, oh, I want to come. I said, so next time is going to be in 1 week. And then he left. I took my phone. I called my friends, said, guys, we need to invent a board game night and it needs to start next week. So we created a board game night and Kazushiro came. And the other friends, these friends are from the same project, from the 5 families. And each one brought a friend too. And this board games night lasted for the entire time that we're there. Once a month, sometimes once every 2 months, Kazushiro came to all of them. all of the board games night. He came to all of it. If it was raining, he would come by taxi. When he moved away, he came all the way, took 2 trains to come to the board games night, but he would never miss the board games night. So what am I doing with these guys? Am I talking about the religion? No. Am I talking about Jesus? No. Am I saying that I'm a pastor? Yeah, if he asks. If he doesn't, I'm not saying. But yeah, what are you doing with them? Playing games. Isn't that a waste of time?
Sometimes.
Yes, maybe. Jesus ate. Was a waste of time eating with all those people. How long do you think the dinner would last at that time? Jesus having dinner. How long do you think that dinner would last? A long time. Why? Because that was the time to connect. For Kazushiro and for other friends, the time to connect was playing games. So I need to think about it and try to come up with games that would create connections. So sometimes we would play a game and that game was too competitive. So maybe we shouldn't play that anymore. Maybe we play this game because in this game we need to talk more. And you need to have a mind that is sensitive enough to understand what's going on and make decisions. What shall we do next month? What game shall we play next month? After some time, Kazushiro's wife told me, he didn't know that, she told me, Kazushiro has a problem, very big problem. And I told him, why don't you talk to your brother about this problem? And he said to her, no, if I'm going to talk to someone, I'm going to talk to my friends on games night about my problem, not my brother. He doesn't know anything about me. My friends at games night know more about my life than my brother. Kazushiro's wife was trying to learn about God, and he blocked her. In Japan, man is everything, woman follows a man. That's the culture. If you're the husband, you tell your wife what to do, and she needs to follow. So Kazushiro told her, I don't want you listen these sermon things. I don't want you to listen to these Christian things. So she would listen to it hidden, like when he went to work and stuff. After, I would say, 5 to 6 months of games night, he knew that all of us were pastors. He already knew. And she would tell me everything. He wouldn't tell me, but she would say, Daniel, Kazushiro says that for the first time, he thinks that Christians are normal people. So, oh, good. And then he would say, even pastors are normal people. And then he would say to her, if you want, you can continue your studies. I don't mind. But I don't want to hear. After 1 year, she would watch Hope Channel TV, and he would be sitting next to her, asking her questions. After 2 years, she got baptized, and he organized the whole thing, organized the children, organized the pictures, organized the PowerPoint, organized the car. He rented a car to take her to the baptism. And just before coming here, that was 4.5 years after I met Kazushiro, he said, if you want, we could have a Bible study. 4.5 years later. If you want, he told me, if you want, we can have a Bible study. So is it worth it? Jesus spent 3.5 years. Why can't I spend 4.5 years like once a month with someone who wants to learn about Jesus? So how do you bring people to Jesus? Then I'm going to say exactly what I said last night. People, to start with, most people won't come to Jesus just because you said, you should read the Bible. They won't. They will come to Jesus if they trust you, if they like you, if you are a good friend. They will listen to you after you prove that you're a good friend and you show that Jesus in your life is changing something. Does it make sense? Only when Kazushiro said Christians are normal, pastors are normal, was the beginning of everything, when he could start doing something with us. And I told you one story, but there are more stories like that. So to the question, how do you bring a person to Jesus? Through friendship. there was another big plan that worked at that time. I'm not 100% extrovert. I'm a little bit introvert. Like it's easy for me to talk like that. But if you sit me with the whole afternoon, for me to talk alone with you is a little bit more difficult. So I knew that if I bring Kazushiro to make friends with him alone, would be more difficult. So I talked to my friends and I started bringing Kazushiro to events that had friends there. So for example, games night. What's the purpose of games night? Was for Kazushiro to get to know my friends. So Kazushiro met one Christian. No, Kazushiro met 5 Christians. Kazushiro met one pastor. No, Kazushiro met 5 pastors. Kazushiro was talking to you for 3 hours, playing with you. No, Kazushiro was playing with us, making jokes with everyone. And sometimes one person would be a little bit tired or a little bit sick, but the other person would compensate. So what I want to tell you is, one thing that helps you to bring people to Christ is to create a network of help. So maybe you, okay, rather than give examples that don't exist, I'm gonna just give one more that we did in Japan. Trying to remember his name now. Oh man, I forgot his name. It was a Japanese name. Okay, I have him on WhatsApp, but anyway, like Kitashiro. Kitashiro, I made friends with him, but I knew that wouldn't be enough. So I brought him to the restaurant. No, sorry. I brought him to the restaurant Bible study, and he came. He made friends in the restaurant. And he was talking to the people in Japanese. I don't know what he was talking, but people at the restaurant, the Adventist people, my core group at the restaurant, starts talking with him a little bit more. And at the end of the Bible study, I thought, I'm going to invite him for dinner now because, you know, he came to the restaurant, but he needs to spend some time with me. But they came to him, I didn't know, in Japanese, and invited him to go to their church, those girls there, invited him to go to their church next Saturday. And he said yes. So he told me, oh, I can't be today with you, but next Saturday I'm going to see the girls. So, oh, okay, good. So he went there. When he went there, one of the girls invited him for the choir. And he went to the choir. At the choir, somebody invited him for a volleyball match. And he went. So because of that, many people from the church inviting him for different things created a network that in more or less 6 months, he was involved in so many activities with different Adventists that he was basically absorbed by the church. Does it make sense? So when you create a network, you're creating opportunities for the person to have choices. Choices of friends. Maybe I like you, but maybe I like your friend a little bit better. And maybe your friend plays football even better. So you're giving them choices and options to do different things. Does it make sense? Can you do that? Yes, because you have a beautiful church with lots of young people doing lots of things. Are Latvians introvert? I guess yes, because you tell me that you are, but I see you guys doing so many different things. And you can create a network to accommodate these new people that are coming. Okay? And just to come to the end, this was one of the baptisms. This guy here was baptized in one of the churches that we planted. And this is the baptism of another person. Ludin came to our church, and I would say 7 months more or less after she got baptized. And now I'm going to tell you what we did in these churches. In my church, even the Adventist core group would come and say, we know more about God in these 1-2 years that we started this new church than the last 25 years that we are Adventist. Why? Because the way we studied the Bible. And now I'm going to do this with you. This is an activity, and I want you to take your Bible, and I'm gonna do with you exactly how we did in this church, okay? We're gonna get the Bible and open the Bible in Mark 16, 9 to 20. So when we started our church, we would talk and eat for probably half an hour, 40 minutes. And when we realized that people are starting to be okay, we would start the study. How would we study? I will ask you to start reading in Latvian. You can read 2 verses, and the next person will read 2 verses, and you're gonna read 2 verses until we finish this part, okay?
This in Latvian?
Oh yeah, go ahead in Latvian, yeah, it's fine.
Bet uzcēlēs pirmajā nedēļas dienā, rītā agrumā, Jēzus parādījās priekš Marijai Magdalēnai, kuras viņš 7 ļaunus gadus bija izdzinis. Šī gāja un pasludināja to tiem, kas ar viņu bijuši, un tagad stūma un draudžu.
Oh, go ahead, yeah.
Bet dzirdot, ka viņš esot dzīvs un ka tā viņu redzējusi, tie neticēja. Pēc tam viņš parādījās citā izskatā 2 no viņiem, ka tie gāja uz laukiem.
Un tie arī dzen nogājuši to pārējiem pasludināja, tomēr arī tiem viņi neticēja. Bet pēc tam viņš parādījās tiem 11 pie galda sēžot un norāja viņu neticību un cietsirdību, ka tie nebija ticējuši tiem, kas pēc viņa augšām celšanās viņu jau bija redzējuši.
Un viņš tiem sacīja: ejiet pa visu pasauli un pasludiniet evaņģēliju visai radībai. Kas tic un top kristīts, tas tiks izglābts, bet kas netic, tiks pazudināts.
Bet šīs zīmes ticīgajiem ies līdzi. Manā vārdā tie ļaunus garus izdzīs, jaunām mēlēm runās. Tie ar rokām pacels čūskas, un kad tie dzers nāvīgas zāles, tad tās tiem nekaitēs. Neveseliem viņi rokas uzliks, un tie kļūs veseli.
Un tas kungs, kad viņš ar tiem bija runājis, ir uzņemts debesīs un sēž pie Dieva labās rokas. Un tie izgāja un mācīja visās malās, un tas kungs tiem darbā palīdzēja un vārdu apstiprināja ar līdzējošām zīmēm.
Finish? Okay. Now, I want you guys to read alone. I'm gonna give you 5 to 7 minutes for you to read alone. When you finish reading alone or during, you can make notes. In your notes, you could try to answer some of those questions or ask new ones. Okay? So if you need more time, we can give you more time too. So I need you to read alone again. So don't skip this part. Read again. And try to answer those questions. Do you need more time? It's okay. Okay, so now I want you guys to talk more than I do. Tell me, did you find anything new this time that you read? I know that you already know this passage. I know that you read many times, but now, today, did you find anything new? When I say new, it's like, wow, I never saw this before. Oh, didn't realize this bit before.
There is a verse when Jesus changed his appearance when he showed up to other people. He showed first time to Maria, but after that he changed his appearance, and that's strange.
Verse 12, right?
Yes.
Another form. What do you think about that? Did anybody else?
Didn't look like before.
Uh-huh.
Different look.
Different look?
Jesus had some different look.
So different from when?
Like before when was alive.
Before when he was alive or before when he rose and appeared to Mary Magdalene?
Also, both different.
I want to hear. The point here is like, you guys speak. I want to hear you.
Arī Marija, īstenībā tas interesantais ir tas, ka šie divi cilvēki gribu, kur savā starpā ir tā kā bīstami, nāk saka, ka Jēzus ir augšām cēlies, un Marija nenotīts. Tad ir tas, ko arī Mārtiņš tikko sacīja, parādās citā veidā, citu pieredzi, un atkal nenotīts. Tā, es tieši to patīju pierakstījis.
They said that he appeared to Mary and she didn't believe him, and then the same as Martin told, and English that
Different form. What do you guys think that's different forms about? So let's try to understand a little bit. Verse 12, when he appears in a different form, can you connect this to the two disciples that are going to Emmaus? Right? So remember that they didn't recognize him. Why? Different form. So what is this about? I want to hear more from you guys. What is this about? Why different form? Why didn't recognize? Which kind of form is this?
Should be looking like other man, but acting. Later, Jesus shows that it was him.
The way he acts, right?
He wanted to be like that.
Yes.
With a purpose.
With a purpose. Yes.
Maybe so everyone could not recognize him.
Do you think he wanted not to be recognized?
Maybe, yes.
Why?
To explain
And that other verse says that their eyes were shut, right? When he was explaining everything. Okay. What else?
I read about, wait, it was in the 18th verse that they could drink deadly poison and it would not hurt them. I don't remember that I have read it before, but probably have, but yeah.
There's a context here, right? They could pick up snakes, drink deadly poison, Yeah, and heal sick people. So did anyone pick up snakes, got bitten by snakes? Paul in Acts. Was that after or before this? After. Did anyone drink poison and didn't die? Oh, the Bible doesn't say, I don't know. But maybe yes, because the Bible doesn't tell you the whole history. But what was the purpose of saying this here?
Somebody will happen.
It will happen to somebody, but you will be protected. You will be protected by me. And comes also after saying that signs will accompany those who believe. In my name, they will drive out demons and also speak in tongues. Did they drive out demons?
Yes.
Yes. Did they speak in tongues? Yes. What was the purpose of tongues at that time in Acts? Do you remember? There was a purpose. For them to understand. What else?
Break the language barrier.
Break the language barrier. Yes. What else? I'm pushing you guys because it's fun. What else?
To do a miracle for it to look like wonderful, I guess.
Yes, to be a miracle and for them to be amazed about that. And also remember when, what was his name again? The Gentile that spoke in languages. I'm getting Alzheimer. I forget things. Cornelius. Cornelius was speaking in tongues. Did he need to speak in tongues? Which language barrier was he breaking? Peter was there. Peter preached to him and his family, and the Holy Spirit came to him, and he spoke in tongues. But who translated him for the Bible study before the Holy Spirit? Did you get it? Remember, Peter received the dream of the animals, and then he went to Cornelius, and he was giving a Bible study to Cornelius and his whole family. In which language? I imagine that was a common language because they just spoke and everything was fine. And then the Holy Spirit came to Cornelius, and then he started speaking in tongues. What was the purpose of the tongues after they finished the Bible study? Yes, it was a sign for Peter to say the Holy Spirit also comes to Gentiles. So you should accept him, because the Bible says that Peter was, whoa, what's happening here? So he went back and people were angry at him because he went into a Gentile's house and he said, no, wait, the Holy Spirit came. So he said, fine, I'm okay. The Holy Spirit came. How did he know that the Holy Spirit came? Because of the tongues. Going back now, why do we have all these miracles here and we don't have any today? We don't have enough Holy Spirit.
I guess they receive a lot of Holy Spirit, and because of the church become a little bit compromising there and there, Holy Spirit could not live in them anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So I think since we haven't got again Holy Spirit in fullness, we don't do the same works what they did.
You're right. I think we should be closer to God. But let me also ask you something. Have you been bitten by a snake lately, or drunk any poison lately? Have you had any problems with other languages lately? You don't, you speak 3-4 languages. The question is, do you need the same kind of miracles today? Maybe you don't need exactly those, but we have other kind of miracles happening in our church, in our lives. For example, if I ask you, do you have any miracle that in the last 5 years, did you see miracles in your life? Maybe you don't have this list here. Impressive enough. What's the difference? Need. God will give what you need. You don't need languages. Maybe you need something else. They need the language. They didn't have Google Translator or Albert translating. They didn't have it. So they needed that kind of miracle. So, okay, God is doing miracles everywhere, every time. But we need the Holy Spirit, and you need the need. Then He will help us that way. What else? What else did you guys see that is new or that surprised you? Like, that's different.
Interesting was that the woman was the first person who met Christ.
The woman was the first one. It's interesting because in the Bible, women were not considered. So very interesting. You know what? I didn't see this. Thank you. That was the first time I pay attention to this. Now, why do you think Jesus appeared to her first?
Maybe she was there first. Maybe it could be some kind of coincidence because she went there to see what's going on there with his body. Maybe she was there first. Maybe that's the reason. And also, there is this interesting sentence about that Jesus cast out 7 devils from her.
So you're telling me that Jesus will appear to whom seeks. If I seek for him, he will be available to me, for me. She went there, so she saw him first. The others didn't go.
He was lost.
She was lost when Jesus was put in the grave, and she was first one who came to the. She really seek for him. The need in her heart was big. Like I heard saying from handicapped people who say, "Our God is big because we need him a lot."
You know, it's interesting. So if I don't need things, maybe I'm not looking for God. So maybe God will let some need come to me for me to look for him. Okay.
But I also think in those times women were, like you told in Japan, like after a man, nobody listens to.
Nobody listened to her.
Jesus slowly changed this thing.
Yep.
And also here, I think.
Yeah, interesting. Jesus wanted to change the culture. I don't know if changed a lot, but it is written in the Bible, so for someone it was special. Interesting. What else?
It surprised me that even the apostles didn't believe the witness.
3.5 years. 3.5 years. They didn't believe and they didn't understand anything because Jesus told everyone that he would rise again. How do you feel about that?
No, they completely misunderstood him in all his teachings.
And how do you think Jesus feel about that?
Disappointed a little bit.
Verse 14, what did he say to them? He rebuked them for what?
For unbelief?
Lack of faith. And what else? Refusal to believe those who had seen him after he had risen. So he rebuked them for 2 things. First, you didn't believe me because I already told you that. And second, you didn't believe her because she told you and you didn't believe her either. So Jesus is telling them off. Guys, did you realize that these are the church planters of the time? Do you realize this is Jesus' core group? Do you realize that these 12 here are the hope of the entire humanity? What do you think? Would you pick them?
Can I say that I don't think he felt disappointed, because also about the story of Peter that you touched on in the morning, Ellen White writes that he looked at him, but he wasn't disappointed.
With love.
Yeah, he looked to him with love and understanding. But yeah, also here it says that, Jesus rebuked them, but he rebukes those who he loves. So
Yeah, of course.
I don't think, the feeling of disappointment.
Yeah, but the point here was basically to bring us to now and say, like, if they were like that, maybe we also can plant a church, right?
Yes. Yes.
We have problems like they did. And how would Jesus look at us with our problems today? Probably with the same love, and rebuke us with the same love. Okay, cool. What else? I keep pushing you guys because there are a lot of things here. And I know that you're tired. It's already 5 o'clock, 4 o'clock, I don't know time. 5 o'clock, yeah. But there is a point in all of this.
Can I tell about the principle behind?
Oh yeah. Go on. You don't need to follow me. Follow your heart now.
I found this verse in John chapter 20, verse 29. Then Jesus told him, "Because you have seen me, you have believed. Blessed are those who not have seen and yet have believed."
What do you think about that?
It's about that witness whom no one believed.
Mm-hmm.
He saw and he only believed. And this verse says it.
What do you need to believe in Jesus? What do people need to believe in Jesus? What do you think a person needs to be able to believe in Jesus? Faith? What is faith? If I say, listen, there's $1 million hidden under that tree. Have faith in me. Go there and dig. Would you go and dig? Do you believe me?
Faith is believing things you can't see.
Yeah, you can't see, but I'm telling you, there's $1 million there. You can't see, but have faith. Oh, I don't need, because I already found another million over there. I want to give that to you. I have a good heart. What's wrong with your faith if you believe in me? What's cheap faith? What's the difference between expensive faith and cheap faith? What's the difference? Why won't you believe me? And if you do, what's wrong with that? Let me change the situation, okay? I come to your house and I say, listen, let me start again. A beggar comes to your house. You've never seen him before. Are there beggars in Latvia? Yeah? So he comes, I say, oh, hello, my name is whatever, and I need 1,000 euros because I need an operation. But I have the money, it's in the bank. But I need for today and the bank's closed. Could you lend me 1,000 euros and next week I'll come and pay you back? Do you know? No. Don't you have faith in the poor beggar? Why not? Oh, no.
Don't know.
See? Not drunk.
Common sense.
Common sense? There's something else I want you guys to find. What's missing there?
You don't know.
You don't know the beggar. You don't know him. But your grandma rings the bell and says, please, I really need 100 euros because I fell and I need a medicine for my knee, but I will bring back tomorrow. Would you give to your grandma? What's the difference between the beggar and their grandma? You know the grandma. So going back here to what you read, You said that Jesus said, you didn't have faith. Did Jesus want us to believe him like she would believe in the beggar? What's the difference between Jesus and the beggar?
Spent with him 3.5 years.
Exactly. Jesus said that after 3.5 years. But when you go to the beginning of the gospel, and somebody comes to Jesus and says, Jesus, where do you live? Do you remember what he said?
Come and see.
Come and see. Why Jesus didn't say, have faith in me? Because you don't know him. So in the beginning of the Gospels, you don't see Jesus telling anybody off. Another one, in the beginning of the Gospels, John the Baptist is locked in prison. And then he's in prison, nothing happened. Jesus doesn't do any miracles, and he's still in prison. So what happened to him? He started to doubt. And then he asked his friends, his disciples, to go and ask Jesus. Guys, have you ever read this chapter thinking about it? He's John the Baptist. He's Jesus' cousin. He was shaking inside his mom's womb when she saw. Now you're asking if Jesus is the Messiah? You were the one who pointed and said, this is the Lamb of God. And now you're asking? You told everyone he's the Messiah and now you don't know? Have you ever thought about that? We just read, right? Go and ask him. He is the main person in this story, and he's asking, are you God or you're fake? And what was Jesus' answer? Come and see. Spend the day with me. And when they spent the day with him, he was healing people, he was preaching, he was doing lots of things. And he finished the day, and he told them, what? Tell them I am? No, he said, tell John what you saw and leave him free to believe in whatever he wants. But after 3.5 years, he comes and says, now it's time to believe. Now it's time is up. You spent 3.5 years with me, it's time to believe.
Daniel,
So
I just want to remind you that the time is up.
Oh, okay. It's fine. So just to finalize this point here, what am I doing with you guys here? Bible study. This was our church in Tokyo for 2 years. And in the end, they said, we know more about the Bible than in the first 20 years of our lives. Why? Sorry?
Of the analyzing of the text, and you hear what others
Who
say.
analyzed the text?
Sometimes-
You guys did. I was not preaching. You guys gave answers to each other. You guys are thinking.
And I
You guys
heard
are...
what I didn't see, but others saw.
Exactly. I didn't see what he said to me. It was new about, the woman. Do you realize that this is the best way for you to start a church because you don't need a pastor? And you are doing something with everyone participating, and they feel part of the group. They feel part of the team. They feel that they can do that together with you. And remember the mistake I told you guys that I left and the church died? When I was doing this in Japan, I was not leading the study all the time. I led a few times and then say, next Saturday, can you do exactly the same thing that I did? I asked Mike first time. Michael was not even a Christian yet. He said, of course I can. And he led a Bible study by himself together with others. And then the other week I would say, could you do the same? Could you do the same? And now, 2 months after I left, there's more people there now than when I was there. Whatever you do, your mission, your new church, your mission, your ministry, will only work when you leave and they can do the same with or without you. When Jesus left, the disciples did 10 times more than when he was here. When the disciples died, the church kept growing because they knew what to do and they could do by themselves. Sorry, go on.
There's just a word for it, synergy.
Synergy, yeah, thank you. That's a good word.
Everybody are giving, one finds one thing, other, and
Yeah.
more people all together.
And it's much more fun, isn't it? Than you sit and listen to one person. It's more fun when you're talking to, when you can participate.
There's like two is more than one is one, but two is not two, but more than two.
Yeah, yeah, good.
I really like to see that idea about how to study, but how to get secular people to come to this kind of groups. How to make interest in them.
Play games. We played games with some people, but with this, once that the church was already going, they would invite their friends and they would come because they are their friends. And when we would do that, everyone would be aware that she's not Christian. So the questions and the answers would be thinking that, she's a beginner. We cannot, talk about the entire Bible as, Another thing that we did, I asked you guys to get your Bibles. There, I brought a piece of paper with the text on the paper. Why? Because the non-Christians didn't know how to use the Bible. They told me that they felt uncomfortable in churches because people would give them a Bible and they would be holding the Bible and not knowing what to do. Like me with the Latvian hymn book. So I printed the text and brought to them like that. So you create everything in a way that non-Christians or newcomers would feel at home or comfortable. I imagine that we should finish because of the time. Yes.
The last question about the same. How do you get to study Bible if you play games and some of us, or you have to suggest, can we read Bible together? I don't know how you jump to Bible.
Yes. In the Acts program, usually we tell them like this. First, you start with your core group. Core group are your Adventist base for your church. Meet your core group for 6 months, 7 months, 8 months, as long as it needed, okay? And try to build a culture inside this group. But at the same time, you're gonna have a date to start your gatherings. Start with, like you said, start with social social work. Do something for the community, okay? So you guys are my core group here. We're meeting every Saturday, everything fun. Guys, next month, let's do something for the community. What do they need? Do they need, like, school need help with children or elderly people? What do they need in the city? I don't know, create a community service and invite your friends. So you're not inviting your friends to Bible studies. You invite your friends to participate on a community service. Invite them to board games. So your friends start to come, not to the church, but they start to come to community service and social gatherings. It doesn't need to be board games. You can do, you guys do sauna here too? Like in Estonia? Yeah, invite to sauna, invite to, I don't know, play football, whatever you guys like to do. Dinner, invite them for dinner. But what I'm saying is, like, start bringing friends to get used to your friends, to your community for social activities and I just said now, the community service. Slowly, they will ask, who are you? Why you guys are doing all of this? No, we are a group of people who want to change the community. By the way, if you want, we meet also in another time, in another day, and we study the Bible together. Would you like to come? I can guarantee to you that most of them will say yes for 3 points. 1, because you're inviting, you're a friend. He knows you. You're a good friend. I hope you're a good friend. So he will think about coming because you're a good friend. 2nd, he knows the rest of the group. And it was fun to have dinner, to play games, to go to sun. It was fun. I like the other friends. I like your other friends. And you guys are thinking about the community. So I already know that you're a church, but I think you're a good church because you're not just praying every day. You're thinking about the community. I will come and check it out. Just once. that's probably how they will come. That's how our people start to come to our new church. And usually they would like, because everything in the group will be done towards the non-Christians. People would be friendly, the food would be good, the study would be interesting. We don't use Adventist words. We use words that everyone can understand. We try to be non-Christian friendly. That's the point. Usually they come back. Okay, any other question? Okay. Thank you.